Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty radical, maybe even counterintuitive idea about happiness. It's a philosophy that's going to challenge pretty much everything you think you know about finding joy.
So, let's just jump right in with a big question this whole idea forces us to confront. I mean, we spend our entire lives chasing happiness, right? But what if that chase is the very thing that's actually making us miserable? You know the common wisdom, right? To be happy, you gotta chase pleasure. It's the simple formula we're all taught. Just stack up as many joyful moments as you can, and boom, you've got a happy life. But what if that's a trap? The author we're looking at says, yeah, that whole approach, it's basically a recipe for disappointment.
Okay, let's dig into that. This first part is all about what's called the happiness trap. We're going to see how this relentless search for joy might, ironically, be the very source of our suffering.
So here's the core of the problem, according to this text. It says that even in those quiet moments when we're actually fine, free from pain, we get seduced by this image of happiness that has no counterpart in reality. Think about it. It's the perfect Instagram vacation photo, the highlight real life we see all the time. It's this shiny, perfect fantasy that we're always chasing but can never quite catch because, well, it isn't actually real. Okay, so if chasing pleasure is a trap, then what are we supposed to do? What's the alternative? Well, this next section gets right into it, offering a pretty radical solution, a completely different way to think about our goals in life.
And the answer points us way back to some ancient wisdom from Aristotle. Check this out. The goal isn't pleasure, but freedom from pain. It's not about adding good stuff, it's about subtracting the bad stuff. The whole point isn't to have a life packed with these amazing highs, but just a life that's free from suffering. I mean, that completely flips the script on everything we're taught.
And this table just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got the common goal. Gain pleasure. Actively seek joy. It's all about trying to get a positive gain. But then look at the other side, the wise aim. Avoid pain. Secure a life free from evil. It's a negative state, the absence of suffering. One path is all about offense, the other is all about defense. It's addition versus subtraction. And this Voltaire quote that's referenced, wow, it really gets to the heart of this whole worldview, doesn't it? Happiness is but a dream, and sorrow is real. It's a pretty stark way of looking at things, but the idea is that pain and sorrow, they're the concrete, tangible realities of life. Happiness? That's more like a fleeting, totally unreliable dream. Okay, so you might be thinking, why all this focus on pain? Why is it so much more important than pleasure? That's a great question, and this philosophy has a very specific reason. Let's get into the tyranny of pain. The key thing here is the fundamental difference in how we actually feel these two things. Pain is described as a positive, real sensation. It actively makes its presence known, right? It barges in and demands your attention. Pleasure, on the other hand, is just the negative state. It's what's left over when the pain is gone. And this makes so much sense when you think about it. As the text says, one single pain can destroy all comfort. Seriously, you could be having the best day ever. Great food, you're with people you love, and then a single sharp toothache pops up. Bam! The whole day is ruined. Pain just has this incredible power to overshadow everything else.
And the source gives this great analogy. Imagine you have just one little sore spot on your body, but the rest of you is perfectly healthy. What do you focus on? The sore spot, right? It completely absorbs your attention and just tanks your general feeling of well-being. That's the power we're talking about here. That's the tyranny of pain.
So, given this reality, the philosophy kind of breaks things down into two different paths you can take, personified as two archetypes, the fool and the sage. Let's take a look at how they stack up. First up, you've got the fool's path. This is the person who follows that common wisdom we talked about. They rush after all the pleasures of life, but they end up finding themselves their dupe. Basically, they get tricked by these fleeting joys, and according to this view, it inevitably leads to misfortune. Then you have the sage's path. The wise person does the complete opposite. They're not chasing after something good. They're actively trying to avoid the bad. Their whole game is about avoiding life's evils. It's a strategy that's all about playing defense, about being prudent. And here's the outcome. The fool essentially gambles away a real, tangible thing, that simple state of being pain-free, for some pleasure that's just an illusion. The sage, on the other hand, avoids evils that are described as very real. So by doing that, the sage doesn't live a life of illusion. Their life is grounded in what's real, not some fantasy.
So what's the big takeaway here? How do we actually apply this kind of thinking to our own lives? Well,
It calls for a whole new way of keeping score, a new calculus for life. This is where we get to the idea of a life's ledger, like an accounting book for your life. And here's the twist. This philosophy says, don't tally up the pleasures you've enjoyed. No, instead, you should tally up the evils you have escaped. It's not about what you gained, it's about the disasters you managed to sidestep.
And if you use that metric, the whole definition of a happy life just gets turned on its head. The happiest lot, as the text calls it, isn't about having the most amazing adventures or the biggest pile of stuff. It's about getting to the end of your life without any very great pain, either physical or mental. A successful life is a peaceful one.
And this really is the core of it all. It's what the text calls the true method of eudaimonology, which is just a fancy word for the study of happiness. It's recognizing that to live happily actually just means to live less unhappily. It's a massive recalibration of our expectations. It's not about chasing some perfect bliss. It's about damage control. In a world that's constantly screaming at us to be happy, maybe this is the real antidote. Just aim to make life as tolerable as you can. Look, it's a challenging idea, for sure. You could even say it's pretty pessimistic. But it leaves us with one heck of a question to think about. So I'll leave you with this. How would you measure your life? What would it look like if you tallied it up not by the joys you've had, but by the sorrows you've managed to escape?